Well, welcome everybody. I'm really glad you all came.
Thank you.
And for those of you who are watching from afar, I'd like to introduce my co-leader, who is Chris Cannon in Chico, and Linda is her helper this year, Sarah and Leslie. And we are here tonight to share some of the things with you that we've learned down through the years. I'm thinking that I want to tell you a story that took place about probably 25 years ago now. It was right close after the Iron Curtain came down. For those of you who are too young to know about the Iron Curtain,
I don't think any of us
happened
are
in about
that young.
1991. I think this story maybe was in maybe summer of 92. So a young friend and I had, I had been on a trip behind the Iron Curtain when it was still up a couple of years before, and we were taking Bibles in, and it was a really exciting trip. Well, now the Iron Curtain is down, and this young friend of mine was, she was the daughter of some friends of mine, so she was actually about the age of my children. And so she was really eager to get back over to Europe. She'd been an exchange student in Germany. She wanted to see her exchange family, and she would love to take a trip to take some Bibles into Russia now that we could actually take them in.
Yeah.
So we made plans for the trip. She had 2 weeks off work, and I had 3 weeks in the winter. This was in dead winter. I had 3 weeks off for Christmas vacation break, and so we set off. Well, it was quite an interesting adventure on many, many fronts. We found out quite quickly why the car that we had been given to transport was called a Lada. It was a Russian-made car. And they called it a Lada because if you tried to go anywhere in it, you could expect a lot of problems.
Oh, very good.
We never had a day on that trip that we didn't have problems. So one of the main problems was that the battery, there was something wrong with the battery.
Oh, no.
And so when we would turn on the lights, the battery would, and there was a gauge on there. You could watch where the battery was going. And the battery kept going down, 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 down. So we had stayed overnight in Salzburg, Austria, and we had taken off from Salzburg, expecting to arrive at our destination in a few hours. And so we were about probably a couple of hours out of Salzburg when it started raining and fogging and snowing. Not snowing, but misting. It wasn't really the kind of rain that would wash anything. It was the kind of rain that just got the streets messy. And then the trucks would come toward us and splash great dirty mud all over us.
Yeah, that's the mess.
Well, we turned on the windshield wipers, pushed the wash the windshield button. There's no water.
No water.
in the thing. And I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, if somebody's going to send me on a trip in this car, you would think the least they would do is make sure that there's water in the reservoir.
Thank you.
Okay, but no. Okay, so now we brought a lot of water with us, and so my friend waits until the windshield wipers are over like this and goes like this and sloshes water. And with any luck, it cleans it a little bit. Okay, so here we are going down the road, and it was really getting serious now because it was in the middle of winter, so it got dark around 5.
Truly.
And we were in some serious trouble because now we're out in the middle of nowhere. Now you may be asking, why did we not just use our cell phones to call and get some help? Well, there weren't any cell phones. You also may wonder why we didn't just stop at a gas station and get help. No gas stations. I mean, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and then it got dark. We got to the place where we were a little bit concerned because I could really only see the first stripe coming under the fender of the car. Otherwise, I couldn't see. So I had to be behind another car so I could even tell that we were on the road. that worked for a little while until the car blinks, it's going to make a left turn, and we're going straight, and now we're in a bit of trouble. And it got darker and darker and foggier and mistier. And we finally saw some lights off in the distance. We thought a service station. Well, it was a gas station. So there was a man behind the window who took our money, and that's all he did.
Oh.
And so I got out, opened the hood, because I'm going to fill the reservoir. The reservoir is already full. Maybe we're in deeper trouble than I think. Now, I've exhausted my entire knowledge of sprinkler systems and window washers and stuff like that, and so I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do if the reservoir is full. So I said, Lord, what shall I do? And he said to me, look at the spigots where the water comes out. Oh, okay. So I did, and they're pointing to the front of the car. So they didn't really do a whole lot of good. Okay, and now because of the mud coming up, they're all plugged up. So now I had to get a hose and get the water off, turn them around, push the button. We now have windshield washers. But we still have the battery problem.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still really, really dark, really, really foggy. Really, really misty. And we are still quite a ways from our destination. So I thought, okay, I'll wait until another car comes along and then I'll pull in behind them. So not too long later, here comes another car, fills up with gas, and I am right on his tail. And here we go down the road, and I'm going way, way faster than I want to go in this kind of fog. But I have to do that in order to keep close enough to the guy. Well, that went along okay until a while later, he turned off.
Oh.
And now we are even farther out into the midst of nowhere. It's even darker. And now I'm a little bit tense, and I literally have no idea what's on either side of the road. I mean, we're on fairly level road, and I have no idea.
Okay.
And so I drove for a little while with this one stripe coming under the wheel, and finally I just pulled over, and I just thought, well, if I just rest a little bit, I can maybe the car will charge up a little bit. And I had no sooner put my head back and started to just kind of rest a little bit when I heard a car coming. And I go, okay, here we go. So he comes, and I get behind him, and everything's great because he was here and now he's there. So I'm sure there's a road between here and there. And so I'm going as fast as I can make myself go. And all of a sudden, I see ahead of me that he is going around a curve. And I'm like, I don't even know how to tell if I'm on the road. How can I do this? And the Lord dropped this idea in my head. He said, just follow the trajectory of his taillights. And I said, trajectory? I barely know what a trajectory is. Lord, I can't do this. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm just an ordinary woman.
Oh my goodness.
And the Lord said to me, you are an ordinary woman, but I'm an extraordinary God. Watch this. And right there before my eyes, there was a red line showing the trajectory of his going around the curve. I put the hood ornament of my car on that red line. I can still see that red line in my head right now as we're talking. And I followed that red line around, and sure enough, there he was, up there.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And ever since that time, when the Lord says, I want you to do this, or I'd like to have you do that, or I want to go and do this, and I'm tempted to say, I can't do that. He says, no, you can't. But watch this.
Wow.
I am an extraordinary God. And if you, an ordinary woman, put yourself in the hands of an extraordinary God, I can do extraordinary things.